hydra. Holds has been a really difficult thing for both these two squads on this map, though. We need to see some rotations fall in and then actually soak up some decent time. Are the breaks going to come through? Who's going to come out on top? Let's get into it.
That is the key question. Over and over again for Seattle Surge. They've just looked dominant when it comes down to hard point. No real change here either. P1 is starting off all them, and maybe the man of the moment, or the man that Surge are going to be relying on, is their superstar. Pred, record-setting kills earlier in this tournament. Is it time for a two-peat?
Good players coming in around 10, just messing with them. Knows he's going to keep them spawning back there. Good holds coming in from Seattle already. I mean, this is just a nightmare scenario if you're Minnesota Rokkr. 5-0 from Pred already. Spawning out as far away as possible. 10 seconds to go on P1. Rotations in for Seattle Surge. It's been perfect so far. Accuracy hasn't even had to do anything. He's just chilling back down. We've got the spawns, boys. Don't worry about it. Nicely done from Seattle. That's 43 points on P1.
An insane hold and an insane start. Here's the Rokkr, a big break. Might make the difference. Oh my goodness, ton! What a reversal of fortune. Minnesota Rokkr decided to spawn into this match 60 seconds too late.
I mean, I think for Seattle, that, you know, that initial hold up towards P1, you're soaking up some good time, but when they all die off the rip, they don't have time to then push up the dome to keep Minnesota Rokkr away as far as they possibly can. Don't lose your gunfights in that scenario as best you can, but Rokkr doing a good job, find the break, and then themselves haven't had a chance to set up as good as they possibly could. Pressure's going to start soaking in, and again, here comes the break. The whole percentage that we were talking about. It's been a struggle for both these two teams, and that's coming to the forefront pretty much immediately. Minnesota Rokkr, though, 15 seconds to go here, looking like they're going to hold it down.
Now they're waiting. Flames could be for the scrap timer. He's going to fall to Pred as well. Cammy having a long-range gunfight on Dome, but the most important now will be back to the back. Find Sib, because a little bit of chaos in Surge's lines. But can they capitalize? Surge will be here first.
We talk about important kills. That one may well be very valuable to Minnesota Rokkr. Vance is going to be waited on here by Pred, though. But it's a distraction. They have to send some numbers towards the back to deal with what Vance is going to prove to be a problem back here, because there's the spawn for the rest of the team. Does his job. And good spread whilst he's at it. Accuracy on a 5 spree. Got to get rid of that as quick as you can, and Vance may be the man to fill in that role. Minnesota Rokkr, really good manipulation. That's all down to Vance.
This is what they're waiting for. They still got to get some points off of it. They haven't found an awful lot recently. Scrap time here at least. We'll get them back within striking distance. But the problem for Rokkr at the moment is going to be the fact they keep being second to rotations. It is not the way to win a hard point.
I mean, Vance gets himself spawned up, rotates all the way around towards the back of P3. Gets the spawn for his team. I was about to say he's going to get the spawns for his team at P4, but accuracy will gun him out of the water. 10-5 from Pred, 6-3 from accuracy. It's going well for Seattle Surge on the slaying side of things and on the points. P4 really has been a money hill for this Seattle side. The strongest P4 team in the game. It's mostly been down to the breaks that have been following through, but the rotation is here for them again. They're about to break 100.
Now they're waiting for them. Rokkr have stacked. They've got players in the area looking to try and make some sort of break, but they fall again. A couple there from Afro and Fame may do a little bit just to keep them off the time, and that's a huge win from Fame in the end. Wow. As he continues to gun, the nade will take him out of that point, but it's the same old story. Rokkr managed to get a break in the second half of a hill. It is not enough. They need to win some rotation somewhere.
Yeah, it's been 3 uncontested points for Seattle Surge for the most part. It's nice to have the setup and actually just force Rokkr away as much as you can. Break gonna start potentially coming through again. Vance is the playmaker towards the backside. Mac's gonna have to win this gunfight. Vance has put plenty into him, but Mac answers back in turn. Now it's gonna have to be from the front from Rokkr. Seattle Surge holding.
And here comes the pressure again from Rokkr, but not finding anything as Sib goes to work and finds 2. It's slow from Minnesota here. They're worried about pushing up without the full numbers. Cammy eventually finding a kill here as well, but the score is starting to get away from them. They could do with this break ton.
Yeah, looks like they may well find a way through. Afro getting himself on board in this game. He's going to find a second here as well, and these are the moments where they need Afro to pop off. Fame is there alongside of him. Afro not there for the trades, though. Accuracy. It's just been an absolute monolith here for the Seattle Surge. Time and time again, putting down the damage, making the plays right alongside Pred as the player of the game. In that game number 1, Vance can't find the break. Fame may well pick up those final 15 seconds. They are sorely needed for Minnesota Rokkr. Pred says no. Really, really good first rotation hills out of Seattle Surge.
And For Rokkr, they're finding nothing but scrap time. Scrap time so noticed because it can't go into the bin, which is where Rokkr are finding themselves. This is already a huge deficit for them to make up, and now they find themselves in the same position as they were at the beginning. Bad side, no P1 control, and no P2 rotation.
Yeah, the devs were worried about if accuracy continued this form. Worried for Rokkr, and rightfully so. Having a hell of a game. I mean, you look at what happens over towards that final hill. It's a majority of time going over towards Seattle Surge, and then they have the rotation for P2. They're locking down time at P1. Nothing is going right for Minnesota Rokkr right now. They need some sort of transitional hill. They need to find a full 60 somewhere along the line to make this competitive. Bance is going to find 2 to maybe find a break over towards P2, and they're actually going to get the spawn. There you go. Fortunate play from Minnesota Rokkr. They get the spawns towards the back, not covered off well enough from accuracy, gets gunned as well. Nice transition from Rokkr. They need every single point here to make this at least a little bit close.
Is this the miracle they've been asking for? Break P1, steal P2. Problem is they've still got to hold. Seattle already filling that kill field with bodies. Rokkr, a little bit of a panic. They know they've lost a spawn already. It's a very fast break here from Seattle Surge. Fame will be the first one hit. He's in the pressure already from both sides. Down he falls. Rokkr trying to reinforce with Afro, but there are just too many Surge players here for him. Surely no! Bance and Cammy combining, clearing the lines, and now there is a possibility. Rokkr down by almost 100 points have fought back.
Spawns towards the back, helping out Minnesota Rokkr, but they held on tight. Fame did a really good job, and now Afro starting to heat up just a little bit. The conversation is quite often, Bance not finding the kills. Afro has been inconsistent this year, but when he heats up, he can mess with the best. That's the 6th spree. Cruise missile in the back pocket. Minnesota Rokkr making this interesting.
Since they are making it interesting, let's find out how they are feeling. It's a Minnesota Rokkr. Listen in.
Let's just body front. So just take a route left. So take a route left.
I don't see shit from there. One stop. Pretty stop.
I'm netting top, netting top. Let's make this scrappy, boys. Come.
I don't see shit here.
Nade it top, nade it top. Yeah, heard you.
I don't see shit.
He didn't shout top.
Top, one shot.
No, you're pretty pitch. Watch out. He's
wait, where?
Mid fucking what? Mid wall. Mid wall.
Still top, man. Just leave him go.
I am one shot. Listen, mid wall somewhere. Probably gonna go ocean now, okay?
Pull dead.
Nice, that's him. Let's go.
One's top.
Yeah, I need top for you.
Time, one shot.
Top
Lamar.
Yeah, top for you.
I'm on the steps. He's somewhere on play.
We deep, Cam.
Don't see a play. He's not flat.
Go on, nice.
Yeah, he's flat. He's flat. Corner. Nice, man.
Are you back?
Nice.
Shine out the outer right, so you're back.
Yeah, outer right.
You did it. Like a shit. I'm sorry if you.
Missing Mac.
Yo, block me to a spawn.
Yeah, I am.
At the
Block
back,
to a spawn. Block you.
Yo, 2 at the back. One's
Can
going in ocean.
Heard you. I'll get ocean. Hop up. Stay down.
There's 2 more. One more in the back.
Heard you.
Go, Kev.
Yeah. I'm playing it.
Yo, no. Go through. I'm probably gonna spawn out though, okay?
Yeah, we can give it right if you want to play through left. I'm getting in blue, okay?
I'll spawn right.
I'm guaranteed.
I've got time.
I'm hiding in blue.
Heard you.
Yo, wait, do you want me to stay P2? Can anyone get my mid? Stay P2.
I'm
Make
holding
sure
river.
we secure out. Listen, okay, you got a river?
Yeah,
sweet. I'm staying down.
Mid arches.
No, I can't.
He's deep river. 2 deep river.
I'm staying down then. I stay alive.
One's gonna be close spawn, and then one guy is like on the scaff. I spawned
Yeah, he needs to be close. I'm trying to stay alive, bro.
I don't see anything on the right, you know? Nothing mid.
Mid. Watch out. Front P2.
Yeah, out boys, Mac.
Front P2.
Stay alive.
Back P2, Brad.
I'm gonna shoot this.
Play life.
Stay alive. I'm just gonna shoot you straight away, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, listen, one's back on rock, one's in time, like outside time, one's P2, and one's on mid. In blue. Mid you blue.
Blue her. Sip.
Yeah.
And probably the most frantic confidence we've heard from Minnesota Rokkr all season. They are feeling the frustration, they are feeling the stress here in this game already. Cammy will catch one to the face, but they almost had this rotation and they needed it, but Seattle Surge were able to get a break and they move into lethal range.
Yeah, they need to make sure they rotate over towards P5. It's already accuracy there, ready and waiting. Rokkr just trying to get as much scrap as they can. I was saying to you whilst the comms zone going a full 60 here, you take the lead. It's now about rotation again. It's a couple of hills that they managed to string together to make this interesting, but I can't believe Afro's not checking that. It's where Bance sits and accuracy. Picking up the kill, spawns towards the back for your teammates as well, but then the spawns there for Minnesota Rokkr too, so things getting a little bit mixy towards the back. These fights need to be won by Rokkr, but Simp is lining them up. Seattle Surge can close it out here over towards P5.
And it's always been a half step too far from Rokkr. They need everything here, and accuracy waits patiently just to bury them into the Hydra River, where they have belonged for the majority of this map. Nothing for Rokkr has gone right. The rotations have been late. The breaks have been sloppy. And Seattle Surge have had a game. Just when you thought you could turn it around, there's been not a lot here.
Not much to talk about for Rokkr. One more final opportunity. Accuracy has put them to the sword from the minute go. They're not going to be able to win it over towards P5, but it may well be done as we head back into a third rotation of hills. But that's two rotation of hills where Seattle Surge have beaten Minnesota Rokkr to an absolute pulp. 1-0 to Seattle, and deservedly so. Flawless performance.
I felt like maybe I was a bit too hard on Minnesota there, but realistically, they had some big plays, but they were doing it most of the time after the rotation. You got to give them credit for breaking the hills in the way they did, but the fact they had to consistently break that often over and over again, even the time when they rotated and we saw them go to P4, lost it pretty quickly, lost the points. It could have been a very different story. Credit to playing it close.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned at the top of the game, it was all about the holds. Who was going to manage to hold down those hills when they did find those rotations? Rokkr, like, on occasion, especially in the second rotation of hills, P4